Okay, so we're going to be finding the steepness of our slopes when they give us two different points. So they're going to give us coordinates. We're going to find our slope from that. And we're going to look at some graphs also. So the slope of the line passing through points, x1, y1, and x2, y2. So remember, when you are given ordered pairs, they're always x and y, x and y, right? That's the way it goes. So xy, xy, and it is the ratio or fraction of the difference in your y coordinates to the corresponding differences in your x coordinates. So just like when we did rate of change, we were looking for the change in y over the change in x. So we're still doing the same thing. Okay, slope of a line is the ratio of the rise to the run. So if you think about it, your y value, the change that goes on top, which one is your y value on the coordinate plane? Which axis is it? Which one of them?
Wait, what do you mean?
Which axis on a coordinate plane is your y value?
This one.
The vertical one, right? So then what's your x value?
Horizontal.
That's your horizontal. So we're doing the same thing each time. We're finding the change in y over the change in x, the rise over the run, your vertical change over your horizontal change. Just 3 different ways that you'll see it, but we're finding the same thing each time. Okay? And when we did like simple interest and compound interest, we had to use a formula and plug those numbers in. Same thing with slope. They give you a formula if you have 2 ordered pairs. So let's look at the first example. So when they give us 2 ordered pairs, the first thing we want to do is label them. So remember, your ordered pairs are always x and y, x and y. The first set that I got, so a, -1, -1, I'm going to put a tiny little 1 in the corner. So that's my x1, my y1, since that's my first set. Second set, I'm going to label x2, y2.
Why those two?
Because that's my second set of ordered pairs.
Oh.
So I'm just going to put a little 2 at the bottom just to tell me that that's my second little pair. Then I'm going to plug my numbers into that formula just like we've done before. So y2 was 3 minus y1, which was -1. So I'm going to write 3 minus -1. Minus, subtracting is always a part of that formula. Even if you have a negative, then you want to put minus negative. Then on the bottom, I've got x2, which was 2, minus x1, which was -1. So 3 minus -1 is going to give me 4. 2 minus -1 gives me 3. So that's my slope, 4 over 3. If they give us a graph, we can label it x1, y1, x2, y2, and solve it the same way. Or we can find our vertical change and our horizontal change using those 2 points that they give us. So my vertical change from point to point, I can just count those squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is my vertical change, and 1, 2, 3 is my horizontal change. Okay? So if they give you a graph, you can do it either way. You can use that formula, or you can count your graph. Does that make sense? So I can count from point to point my rise over my run, or my change in y over my change in x. So from point to point, I start up here. I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So negative 6 is my vertical, my change in y, and then how far do I need to go horizontally to get to that point? 2. So negative 6 over 2, or if I reduce it down, negative 3 over 1, or just negative 3. You can do it the same way we did it up there. So x1, y1, label your points, x2, y2. And you can plug it into that formula. Does that make sense? So y2 is negative 2 minus y1, which was 4, over x2, which was 3, minus x1, which was 1. And you'll get the same answer either way, however you do it. Negative 6 over 2. So whether you use your points and you use that formula, or if you count your rise to your run, you're going to get the same slope. Okay, down at the bottom, so they just give us 2 ordered pairs, 2 coordinates. So that means I have to use that formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? I've got my formula written down. Label your points. Every single time you do it, label your points so then you know which number is which. That'll help so you don't mess up. So I got x1, y1, x2, y2. If I have my points labeled, then plugging into that formula is going to be no big deal. So I've got my y2 is 4 minus my y1, which is 1. And that's going to be on top. Then I'm going to subtract my x2, which is 3, minus x1, which is 0. So it'd be 3 over 3, and what would that reduce down to? 1 whole. Okay, so on number 2, same thing. I'm going to label my points, x1, y1, x2, y2. And for now, I'm going to write the formula down every time I do it just to make sure I'm putting it in the right spot. So y2 is 2 minus y1, which is negative 2. Then on the bottom, I've got x2, which is 3 minus x1. Right. So 2 minus negative 2 is 4. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 over 1 or just 2?
Wait, what?
2 minus negative 2 is 4. 3 minus 1 is 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Okay, so for number 3, I'm going to label them x1, y1, x2, y2. And I'm going to go ahead and write that formula down just so I don't get confused. Same thing. I'm doing the same thing. x2 is 2. x1 is negative 4, so minus negative 4. Then my x is on the bottom. I got 2 minus 4.
So you always leave it as a fraction unless it can go to the power?
Yeah, leave it as a fraction. You can simplify them, but I would leave your answers as a fraction because that's what slope is. It's a ratio. Okay, yeah.
Wait, give me the number 6.
So 2 minus negative 4 is 6. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. And so that should be pink lid, plastic tub with the pink lid, and the other on the other side.
So wouldn't that be negative 3?
Perfect. Negative 3 or negative 3 over 1. That means the same thing. Hey, and I'm going to skip to number 6 to show you guys what this will look like. So x1, y1, x2, y2. Same thing. I'm going to do y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So y2 is 4 minus y1, which is 4, on top of x2, which is 5, minus x1, which is negative 4. So when I subtract the top, I get 0, and when I subtract the bottom, I get 9. Anytime you get that slope where the 0 is on top, that's going to be 0 slope. Okay? The opposite of that, say we got 9 over 0. That's going to be those undefined slopes like we looked at yesterday. Undefined slope. Like that.
Where's